Hi, I'm Donna Fields and welcome to CLIL Scaffolding 2. This is a series of webinars designed to give you quick, easy, and adaptable scaffolding techniques. Scaffolding, we can say, is helping students to transition into new material more easily without experiencing cognitive overload. I like to use the image, giving a helping hand. Today we're going to see how easy it is to adapt scaffolding technique number 5 to your lessons. You can find these techniques in my book, 101 Scaffolding Techniques for Language Teaching and Learning. That's also been translated into Spanish. The objective for this session is to show how to adapt scaffolding technique number 5 to a primary and secondary lesson. And remember, it's always important to share objectives with our students and co-create them whenever we can, because it helps them feel more involved in their learning. Scaffolding technique number 5 is called All the King's Horses and All the King's Men, and it refers to a children's poem about Humpty Dumpty, who fell off a wall and had to be put back together again. This technique is about putting things back together again. We're going to use puzzles to help generate cognitive activity and make learning fun. We'll start with secondary. Let's say we're teaching a geography lesson. We come to a chapter that has a lot of definitions. The students need to know the terms and understand the definitions, but how can we make the information visible in a different way? How can we help them to interact with the material through thinking and through different senses? If we can do this, they'll become more involved in the material and then be more open to remembering it. I usually work with text and images in my scaffolding techniques because I love images, but also because studies show that this doubles the learning impact. This technique, however, works better without images. In this case, we want the students to focus on the text and put the puzzle back together again by reading instead of using the images. So I've taken these 2 pages of a geography text, scanned them in, eliminated the images, and combined the definitions onto one page. Now I take this page of the definitions and print them out on 6 different colored pieces of paper, plus a template of a puzzle. I use a template that has pieces that are very similar to each other because, again, I want the students to put the puzzle together by reading the text and not by the shape of the pieces. So I put the template on top of the 6 different colored printed definitions and cut out the pieces. In this way, you make 6 puzzles at once. If you have more than 12 students, which most of you probably do, this means that you only have to do this 2 or 3 times. And once you've cut them out, since they're different colors, it's easy to separate the pieces and you put them into a CD cover. The CD cover simply makes it easier to handle the puzzle pieces, and you give 1 CD cover, or 1 set, to each pair of students. After they put the puzzles together, you can help them to further bring the material alive by asking them to take turns saying the definitions aloud, or by testing each other on the material. The questions and the answers are in the puzzle they've just put together. Now let's look at a primary math class. It's the same process. You're moving into simplifying fractions. You take a deep breath and wonder how to approach the subject this year. You could go 2 ways. You could approach it through direct instruction, which is what most teachers do, or you could take a big leap of faith and let the students try to understand it on their own. Do you want to see how you could do that? Let's include problem solving and dialogic instruction and see how far your students can get. So first, we create the problem-solving part of the activity, the puzzle. We write 6 equations in the puzzle, print it out on 6 different colored pieces of paper, put the template on top, and cut out the pieces. Because they're on different colored pieces of paper, it's easy to separate them, and then you put them into a CD cover. You give 1 set, or 1 CD cover, to each pair of students, and they put the puzzle back together as best they can. The first 3 horizontal pieces will be fairly easy for them. They'll need to create dialogues with each other to decide on what the last 2 pieces should be. At a given point in the lesson, show the answers and then ask them to work together, either in pairs or in groups, to come to some conclusions about how the last two pieces solve the equations. Why? Then have the reporters share their conclusions. And now you're ready to begin working on simplifying fractions with more educated and involved students. And that's it. So all you super teachers out there, thank you so much for joining. I'd love to hear your comments about how successful this is in your classes. And in the meantime, I look forward to seeing you in the next webinar. You can find me on LinkedIn and Pinterest and Facebook and on Instagram. And I hope to see you soon. Bye.